They really couldn't leave well enough alone, now could they? Welcome back, everybody. It's once again time. I'm Master Vita, and we just recently got back from seeing Jurassic World Rebirth, the latest in a long line of films of varying quality following a cinematic masterpiece in the form of Jurassic Park. The big thing with this one, in Jurassic World Rebirth, not only does it retcon the past three films, which felt like in the first one they actually had an idea they wanted to go with, and then in the second film they wanted to kind of carry on with it, and then at the very end of the second film we finally get the concept that we basically read in the title. Jurassic World, a film that was implied since, well, if we're really being honest with ourselves, then The Lost World's third act. A T Rex loose in San Diego causing untold amounts of damage and killing several people. See, that's the thing. Crichton made a book that turned into a film that, while different, was still fantastic. The Lost World was made in response to the said movie, not the book. And to date, at least as far as I know, is the only sequel that Crichton ever wrote to any of his novellas. Now, Jurassic World Rebirth effectively retcons most of what happened in the last three films. Nothing what happened in those last three films matter, which I normally don't mind, because technically remakes and reboots and all these re-things are supposed to be soft resets of the universe. But the problem I have with it is the world that was implied and sold to us, we never got to see really to come to fruition. We never saw a T-Rex in a suburban area. We never saw raptors hiding outside of Denny's waiting to eat fat people. None of that kind of stuff. And the problem is, this film, every time this series gets too big for itself, it collapses in on itself. It's done it twice before. The first film was a bottle film. The second film was an even bigger bottle film, which eventually spilled out into the world. And the third film kind of explored the concept of, oh yes, look at there's actually flying dinosaurs that can get off the island. The same happened with the Jurassic World trilogy. The Jurassic World trilogy, it started as a bottle film, and then it got bigger, and it kind of exploded into the mainland, and then that's when it should have either stopped, or we should have gotten something completely different. Something like from the 70s, something like a crazy concept, dinosaurs roaming the earth, somehow reproducing unchecked and unmanned, and just masters of their own destiny, basically. It's silly, but really the first film is the only one that's ever really dealt with anything like this. The philosophical nature really was only ever explored and talked about in detail in the first movie. And that's because Crichton actually helped write the script. Now, for a synopsis for this new one, it's a basic one, and from what I've heard from many of my reviewer friends, it's basically a video game side quest. You need an item, you have a goal, you need three key items to unlock the final door, and you can go and fight the final boss. This is basically that. Find three of the biggest dinosaurs on the island, an island that didn't exist in even the Jurassic World lineup of films, and that's about it. If you're expecting more, don't expect more. Now, the first film was not complicated either. It was actually a fairly simple yarn on paper. But the thing is that a director can make a simple story seem grand and convoluted and complex if he can sell all the pieces. This film, however, it's like it had two scripts that were shoved together. You had the family show up I'd say about a half hour into this 2 hour and 15-minute long film. You had a really good opener with the D-Rex. The trailer's already exposed everything about it, so I'm not spoiling anything here. The D-Rex is kind of cool, I'm not going to lie. The problem is, the film follows a pattern from start to finish, and it kind of makes me feel like either the writers were using AI, or simply put, we have entered a phase of film writing, or script writing, I guess, where convenience is now the order of the day. We have a problem, we make stuff up on the fly, and here's the solution 5 seconds later. It happens over and over and over again. It's not the ingenuity of of the creatures, of the characters. It's the same problem I had with Jurassic World. The big fat idiot unlocks the door and the Indirax gets out. And here, so many conveniences. They need flares. The box of flares is right there. They need medicine. It's right there. They need the dinosaur. The next one's right next to where they got the last one. It's that kind of stuff. There's never any trials. And without trials, the characters never have a chance to overcome adversity. And I'm sorry, but we need to stop this where all of our characters just, they get all their exposition out of the way as soon as they're introduced. And it's like, okay, that's it, done. There's your arc for the film, there's your arc for the film, there's your arc for the film, and then that's it. We're basically just going to go, here's you, this is your character, this is your history, go. And we're never going to really lace it into the script or like the storyline or anything. I knew I wasn't going to get Michael Crichton's next or anything like that. I wasn't going to get something that was extremely brutal or R, or I'm not going to get Brundlefly or anything like that from The Fly, David Cronenberg's version. But with this, I was expecting some level of intensity, some level of fear, perhaps even. But the problem is that this movie has no balls at all. Seriously, none of the sequels post the second film have ever really... I mean, when a guy got in these movies, he was done. In the first two, I mean, a guy gets Kit-Katted by 2 adult T-Rexes while doing something selfless, hence why we feel bad for him. In these new movies, the morality is so simplistic. Bad guy always dies. Good guy always lives. It's simple, but that's never been the whole point of the story. Good people die. It's life. But if we know the good people are always going to make it, then there's no tension. I get it. It's a movie at the end of the day, but a good director can actually make you go, wow, I genuinely am scared that these characters might not make it out alive. Not really anyone was good here. Not a single person felt like they were into it. Like, honestly, the little girl and the guy who in the very beginning gets munched on. If you've seen the movie, you know exactly what scene I'm referring to, but in the very opening, when the thing gets out, there's a guy who is fantastic. Like, I genuinely felt like really bad for him. But once again, I will refer you back to my biggest gripe with the film, and this is what keeps happening. It's a complicated solution, or rather a complicated issue, that is solved or created with such a simple means, but then instantly solved later on. The beginning of the film, literally, the entire base just goes to shit because of a Snickers bar wrapper. This place is supposed to be the single most secure base on the planet, or at least of these 3 islands. And somehow, not a single backup system, territory system, or anything like that. They had no security at all that could have prevented something like this. And I get it, it's the chaos theory, life finds a way, little things happen. But the thing is that the reasons have been, ever since the second one, the reasons and the logic have gotten dumber. And it's like all those little bugaboos that annoy people. Like, how did the T-Rex break out of its cage on the boat and eat everybody? What happened to Samuel Jackson in the first movie? Why did the T-Rex not make a sound before it ate the main human antagonist in Fallen Kingdom? It's that kind of stuff. The little things that knock you out of a story and the cognitive dissonance, you get knocked out of it. In the good film, maybe for a millisecond, you'll get knocked out of it. But then it'll bring you back into it because it's like, oh, I don't want these characters to die. Or, oh, I'm curious about what's going to happen. You know exactly what's going to happen at the end of this film. You know exactly every single thing that's going to happen. The biggest problem is the film characters and world building. Characters and world building are the 2 biggest things that you can make in a film. If those 2 things are good, most likely all the other things will fall in line. The biggest problem here, however, is it basically just says those last three films, they never happened. We're back to square one. That cool concept that we kept teasing with you for 4 films over the course of 20 years? Nah, we're not going to do that. We're going to get to the first one again. It happens every time they do a trilogy with this series. First one's kind of okay or great. Second one, Third one, okay, this is getting tired. Let's move on. But the budgets keep getting bigger and the revenue keeps going down. The thing is, and I will keep saying this, with this new one, they take elements from the book, the original book, like the raft scene and all that. And there's a scene where 2 characters underneath a Jeep and the main character has to kind of kick the main antagonist out from underneath it. That was from the Lost World. These books are being used, but they are not taking into account the things that made them good books. Philosophy, good characters, style, subtlety, tension. There's none of that in here because now I feel like it's now just a star vehicle. I want you guys to think about this for a second. Look at the posters of every one of these movies. The first 3 Jurassic Park films did not use star power to get people in the seats. It is simply the park logo and then a catchphrase. It was only with Jurassic World that they start really seriously pimping out the actors and who was in it. We put people in it that basically are popular or they used to be popular and they want to, become popular again. And then that's your movie. And there's no creativeness behind it. Anything in this movie that was creative was just borrowed from the last one. They even did the raptors in the kitchen scene that took half as much time to deal with. And once again, it was an easy fix. They just wrote in an easy fix for these characters. And it's like, quit doing that. That's like the 50th time you've done it. Even though The Lost World is not perfect, it at least recaptured the magic that the original had, and in some cases went darker than the original film. This film it basically wants to be really dark. But let me tell you, people, this is the lightest one of the bunch. There are no main characters that get killed that don't deserve it. You know immediately you're dead, you're a snack, and it happens. As soon as you think it's going to happen, it happens. They even tease killing a child, which of course I'm not a sick individual. I do not wish actively for children to be injured in my movies. The only time that you should ever hurt a child is like in the original film, where it is actually used for drama's sake or to forward the plot. You know what I mean? Whereas with here, though, they tease killing a child, but it's like you don't get points for doing it because I know that the cute little dinosaur, the kid, the general vibe of this film where they're cracking jokes like an MCU movie, the film is not going to go bad. Gareth Edwards gets pushed around by studios too much. It happened with Rogue One. It's going to happen here. 2 franchises that he's been a part of directing wise, and the studios are not going to let him ever direct a film that is as hardcore as he wants it to be. I mean, right now the budget's standing at $180 million and it made 318 at the time I'm looking at this right now. And do I think it's going to make its money back? Most likely. That is not including cost, advertising, or anything like that. And considering that the last 2 films made over $1 billion, this one's going to have to make a lot of money to justify their continued investment into it. You can cut the budget as much as you want, but the thing is, if people stop going and see your movies because they realize that the quality has gone to such a point that even The Lost World or Jurassic Park 3 look good, eventually people will stop going and seeing your movies because people, even as dumb as some of us are, will eventually get wise to something like this. I thought it was going to be at least okay. A step in the right direction, something to rectify the series after the last 3 films and maybe get back on to being that scary, soft horror that we wanted to see. I have a suggestion. 2 suggestions, in fact, if you guys want to see a scary film with dinosaurs in it, or something just scary with dinosaurs in it. Play Jurassic Park Trespasser. As buggy as it is, it's still a good story. It's kind of creepy. It's a survival horror game with, dinosaurs trying to kill you, and it's entirely in first person. And it's old, but still, if you can get the thing to run and actually work, it's actually not that bad a story. Or watch King Kong. It doesn't have D-Rexes in it, but it has V-Rexes in it. Or hell, play the game based off the movie. The official game of the movie for King Kong. There's a really badass scene that's basically taken right out of Crichton's book where you have to fight off 2 V-Rexes on a raft with all the characters. That was more tense than this movie because in that case, if you screw up, then you get your freaking head bit off. As always, I do appreciate that you guys watch this to the end. If you do, thank you. And if you guys want my 2 cents on anything else, old or new or not out yet, let me know. And I'll give my 2 cents on it. So until next time, stay safe. And I give this one 3 dinosaurs out of 10. Till next time.